Hey guys, what's going on? Mike the Caveman Q here again, Palo Palm Long Island, MikeTheCaveman.com. We have another edition, Monday Nights with Mike, Ask Me Anything, live stream Q&A. And as usual, I'm going to pull it up now on my phone just so I can see your questions and comments because sometimes we don't always see it on the iPad for whatever reason. Either way, just start putting your questions and comments down in that box and we'll get it going. So, going to pull this up here. So I see I have a couple. Just start putting your questions and comment. So I see I have a couple people on. I don't see who yet. Oh shit. Here we go. Awesome. All right. So while I'm waiting for you guys putting your questions, let's get started with some stuff that people have been asking me about today and the last couple of days. So got a question earlier from my good friend Steve regarding what do I think about MCT oil toothpaste and if I've ever tried them. So specifically MCT oil toothpaste. I've never specifically tried one of those. He sent me one regarding Onnit, and they generally do make some good products. Didn't really have a chance to look at and see exactly what theirs is. I can pull it up real quick, but either way, I have made toothpaste using coconut oil, and the fact of the matter is, coconut oil is an excellent antimicrobial. MCT oil, depending on which they are using, will also have that antimicrobial benefit. As such, could be beneficial in terms of use as a toothpaste. So, looking at this real quick, it is showing that it is free of fluoride. Now, they also are free of xylitol, which is interesting because xylitol is a sugar alcohol that has shown some benefit in terms of use, in terms of improving dental hygiene and dental health. So part of the reason is thought to be that it actually has a mild antimicrobial effect in the mouth because the bacteria can't exactly utilize it. It looks like sugar, but it's not. So your body metabolizes differently, and the bacteria are thought to do so as well. But okay, so in terms of ingredients, it's using bentonite clay, which is great, tea tree, cinnamon, peppermint, or baking soda. So yeah, Onnit's toothpaste does look to be pretty solid. What else we got? I also got a question earlier. Is fiber important in the diet? Okay, so regarding fiber, yes, fiber is definitely important in your diet. Essentially, what you're going to want to do is make sure that you are getting an adequate amount in order to feed your gut bacteria. That's the biggest purpose of fiber. Now, some people will consume it to bulk up their stool if they have constipation, or rather, they have diarrhea. Now, others will try and use it to, start the pipe going if they have constipation. The problem with that is that if you have congestion, let's say there's traffic on the street, adding more cars to that road, to that street, isn't going to clear up the congestion. It's going to contribute to the traffic worse. So in that case, in the case of constipation, fiber isn't necessarily the best bet. But that being said, fiber overall is definitely beneficial. Resistant starch is going to be a better bet for most people, unless you're dealing with SIBO, which is a whole other conversation we could discuss, but we've talked about it before, not exactly necessary for right now. Another one we had was regarding mercury fillings, since we're talking a lot about oral hygiene right now, it looks like. So, whether or not it's better to have the surgery to remove the mercury fillings or kind of just deal with them as is. And if it's at all economically and financially possible, yeah, you are going to be better off with removing mercury fillings and getting them replaced with bioidenticals. Now, the reason being on that is that you are slowly subjecting yourself to heavy metal toxicity, essentially death by 1,000 cuts. And while the removal process will expose you to a higher amount short term, long term, removing those mercury fillings is going to be a better bet overall. Hey, Chris, what's up, brother? And whoever else is here, I see I have a couple people on right now. I don't know who else is on, because for whatever reason, it's only telling me that Chris joined, but I see I have more than one person, so I have a handful of people. But, yeah, so in terms of those mercury fillings, again, while you can, when you're taking them out, it can result in some small-term damage. Long-term, you are going to be better off removing it, because it's kind of like that allostatic load we've talked about before in terms of the amount of stress you can handle. If those mercury fillings are the only stress your body is dealing with, then yeah, sure, you should be fine. But if that mercury is causing stress on top of 100 other things, then it's going to be a problem. Long term, you're going to have more damage from having to deal with it, having to detox that, having to take care of that over time. Hey, Giuseppe, what's up, brother? How you doing? All right, so yeah, we've talked about Honest toothpaste. We've talked about mercury fillings now. We've talked about the importance of fiber. So we have a couple of questions so far there. Let's get a couple more in the comments, and we can keep it rolling. What else we got? Let's see. While I'm waiting for you guys to put your questions in, let's see what other questions I have built up. Let's see. Had a question earlier. What were we talking about at the gym earlier? We were talking about probiotics and if they're able to help you to basically eliminate the negative bacteria and actually lose weight because of that. Basically accumulated biomass of deleterious or bad bacteria. And yeah, depending on when you're clearing out or what you're clearing out, you could have an accumulation of bacteria that if it does end up clearing out, you could lose some weight and it could be sustained weight loss. So yeah, definite possibility. All right. Hey, Maddie, what's up? So real quick, I just want to touch on that in terms of alternatives to breast milk. And the idea is, obviously, you don't really necessarily want to go with commercial formula. More often than not, they are problematic, particularly of the soy variety. So there are ways to make your own soy formula. Hey, Brian, what's up, brother? And make your own infant formula. Now, unfortunately, regarding that, they are not as easy as making mac and cheese. You do actually have to go through a process, because unfortunately, creating a replication of human breast milk, which is literally was designed to feed and allow your children to survive, yeah, it's not going to be necessarily the easiest thing to do. So, hey, Christine, what's up? As such, you're going to need to supplement with a bunch of different things, and your best bets are going to be some combination of raw milk, liver, and or egg yolk, and then combining that with like a cod liver oil and a source of B12. And there's ways of doing these recipes. Weston A. Price has an excellent version of that, and I'd highly recommend anybody that is in the pregnancy, breastfeeding area that needs an alternative to breast milk, either due to lack of production or simply just unable to do it for whatever reason. So Weston A. Price has an awesome recipe for it. They have a couple of options. Probably your best bet overall. Okay. Is vegetable oil bad for a keto diet? So that's an argumentative question. In terms of is it going to kick you out of keto? Probably not. But if you are using a keto diet for the anti-inflammatory benefits or neurological benefits or cancer benefits, then yeah, it definitely is. Because vegetable oils, with the exception of coconut oil, olive oil, they are generally going to be high in omega-6 fatty acids, which, while not inherently inflammatory, not pro-inflammatory, when they are out of balance with omega-3s, they become pro-inflammatory. Basically, a poor ratio of omega-3 to omega-6 fatty acids will be inflammatory, and as such, it will have negative effects on your overall health regarding a keto diet. So your best bet would be to avoid vegetable oils, with the exception of coconut oil, olive oil, maybe some macadamia nut oil, maybe some avocado oil. But other than that, keep the animal fats quality raised. You'll be better off overall. Okay, that's why I asked if it's on the out there. It seems the best. I've heard of Hip and Hol, but they aren't sold in the U.S. Fair enough. You have to send me a link to that. I'll take a look at it and see what you think, what I think of it. In terms of commercial brands that are the best, there's not too many that are great. Apparently, there was one, Entamil, I think it was, that wasn't terrible, but unfortunately they are no longer on the market. So, unfortunately, your best bet really will be to make your own. It generally is the case. Unfortunately, most processed products are garbage because they are designed to give you the, most for the least, cost the least for the company, but make it look like you're getting a lot. And unfortunately, the bottom line is that it's generally not great. All right, so talked about vegetable oils for keto now, MCT oil toothpaste, talked about mercury fillings, fiber, breast milk, which we just talked about, I think, a second ago. I mentioned that we talked about it. But, yeah, what else we got going on? What other questions? John Zona, what's up, brother? Dun, 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 dun. All right. So, yeah, vegetable oils, not great for keto, is the take-home message there. What else we got going on? Let's see. Who else sent me some questions earlier? While I'm waiting for you guys. Guys are slow on the jump right now. All right, here we go. I know it's not your topic talking about right now. I was wondering, looking to buy a cheap bag of protein powder, $35 for a 5-pound bag. Is it worth buying, or should I spend $20 to get a top-rated brand? I don't know if it's all the same stuff or not. Okay, so honestly, if you are going to get a protein, you kind of do want to focus on the quality. When it is that cheap, unfortunately, more often than not, you're not looking at a quality product. And no, that's a great topic right now. It could be any topic right now. So any questions you have, throw them out there. As long as health related, that definitely is health related. So great topic. And generally, when it comes to whey protein, I would find either one that is from a grass-fed source, if it's not a pure isolate. The reason being is that what's going to happen is most of the damaging components that are stored in milk are either the casein protein, the lactose, or they are byproducts stored in the milk fat. And as such, the less pure, less concentrated the whey protein is, the less, or rather, that's isolated that the protein is, the more likely it's going to have something else in it that's a little bit swirly. As such, either something that is completely just whey protein, nothing else, or otherwise grass-fed. What are the drawbacks of a cheap product? Well, different terms of drawbacks, they could be things that are causing inflammation. They could be things that are causing oxidative stress. So basically, causing your body to need more that it can handle. So if it's, let's say, heavy metals, that is a relatively common, what's the word I'm looking for? A very common contaminant in some supplements. Heavy metals, whether it be lead, cadmium, kind of things, can be commonly added because there are certain allowable limits in supplements. And yeah, that can cause oxidative stress over long term. If it's other sugars they're adding, if it is, again, the casein and lactose, some negative effects of that could be gut damage. So whether it is actual damage being done to your gut lining, or, yeah, you really don't want lead. Probably a bad look. But it could be damage to your gut lining, could be general inflammation. So, no bueno. So, read your status and kind of know what's going on. What should I be eating to prevent kidney stones and other kidney-related issues? So, specifically and to finish up on your thought there, Brian, essentially, I like something that's grass-fed. Fairway has a decent house brand. InPower Protein's a little bit pricey, but it's the best protein I've run across, period. In terms of big, cheap, or big bulk, but not necessarily the cheapest, but gets the job done, Naked Protein on Amazon is a pretty solid brand. It's not going to be $35, I'll tell you that much, but it is, you're getting your quality. You get what you pay for. Okay, so Megan, regarding kidney stones specifically, I have a video on that. I'll tag you to that afterwards if I remember. Please remind me. Otherwise, in terms of that, so kidney stones generally are composed of calcium oxalate. They are calcium and oxalic acid locked up together. They are chelated, bind up. So, supplemental calcium, bad idea if you have kidney issues. Protein in and of itself, high protein diet, super high protein, yeah, can be kind of problematic. That being said, what you're also going to want to avoid, weirdly enough, is that's because it's 5 pounds, Brian. But yeah, I know. In terms of other things to avoid kidney issues, kidney stones, are raw greens. As weird as that may seem, the reason being things like spinach, things like kale are rich in oxalic acid, and oxalate is the salt version of it. Basically, what happens is oxalic acid goes and binds to that calcium and it forms calcium oxalate salt. So, raw versions of those greens are going to be bad. What you're going to want to do is lightly steam them and add some type of acid. So, whether that be lemon juice, apple cider vinegar, I'd probably start drinking that if I were you. There's actually been some interesting research in terms of apple cider vinegar and lemon juice being able to independently break up kidney stones. So, what happens is some people actually will use eggshells, which is calcium carbonate, and they will take that lemon juice and they will grind up. I've tried it once, twice before, but you add the lemon juice to the ground up eggshells and you create a calcium supplement. It's forming calcium citrate. What's happening is when you add that lemon juice or the apple cider vinegar to your food and to your, to that the greens, to the cooked greens, and to your calcium, what it's going to do is actually going to form that calcium citrate, and it's going to break down the calcium oxalate that's forming those kidney stones. So I know I threw a lot of stuff at you right there. The short answer is acid in the form of lemon juice and apple cider vinegar, and cooking your greens. That's going to be more important overall in terms of kidney stones. In terms of kidney health, focus on electrolyte consumption. So, potassium, magnesium, to a lesser extent calcium, getting an adequate chloride. So, in terms of potassium, lots of avocados, beet greens, the tops of the beets. Now, unfortunately, they do fall in that same green category. As such, lightly steaming them, add some olive oil, add some lemon juice, and you'll be ready to rock. But beet greens are the single best source of potassium. Other good source of potassium, sweet potatoes, beets themselves, but again, the greens are best. But beets in and of themselves are beneficial for the urinary process, so beets would be a friend of yours overall. You could take the whole thing, grind it up. Again, though, make sure you're getting in some type of acid in the form of like lemon juice, citrus of some type. So maybe some grapefruit and some beets would be a good idea, but that should get you on your way. Hey, Allison, what's up? What's up, Annie? How you doing? All right, Giuseppe, what are some good foods and or supplements for anxiety? In terms of foods, you're going to want to focus on your gut. Your gut bacteria are number one priority. From there, B vitamins are going to be beneficial, so you want to make sure you're getting adequate amounts of those. It's pretty hard to be deficient in intake of the B vitamins. Generally, though, it's everyday depleters that cause problems in terms of deficiencies of the B vitamins. But in terms of supplements, quality probiotic, CBD oil, and then adaptogenic herbs, so things like ashwagandha, rhodiola, cordyceps mushrooms, those will be beneficial as well. But for the vast majority of people, I've seen amazing benefit on anxiety with CBD. Again, I'll be completely upfront and honest. I have one or two people that I'm pretty close to who unfortunately have not seen the same benefit. We may need to titrate up the dosage on them, but they haven't seen the same benefit at that 5-10 milligram dosage of CBD. But the vast majority of people have seen huge benefits from that for anxiety. I actually have a full video on anxiety too. I'll tag to that. Okay. Annie, what's the deal with sprouted products in terms of what? Grains, legumes, things like that, alfalfa sprouts, etc., etc. So, if you were to consume grains or legumes, your best bet is to consume them in a sprouted form. The reason being, that is a more bioavailable form in terms of, grains. So essentially, those grains and legumes, when you're consuming them in the sprouted form, the vitamins and minerals are going to be more available. That oxalic acid I mentioned before for Megan's question, as well as phytic acid, which is a similar type of antinutrient. It's a type of organic acid, a type of compound that basically locks up, chelates, and binds up minerals. So by soaking, sprouting, and or fermenting grains and legumes, what's going to happen is it does break down that phytic acid. It does break down that oxalic acid, and as such, things like zinc, iron, calcium, potassium are going to be more bioavailable, meaning you are going to absorb them better. So if you absolutely had to consume grains, yeah, sprouting is the way to go. That's why something like Ezekiel bread is not terrible in terms of breads, because they are going through the process of actually sprouting them. You are actually going to want to sprout your nuts and seeds in the ideal world as well. Do I do it all the time? No. But if you want the most out of them, yeah, you're better off taking the day and actually sprouting them. Mate, gotcha. I took notes. Thank you for the information. I totally let you see the results. Test my game. Awesome. Sounds good. Need to get you back on track. Kicking some ass. Hey, Faye, what's up? Okay, so yeah, those of you, again, a bunch of people joining on late, we talked a little bit about MCT oil toothpaste, talked about mercury fillings, the importance of fiber. We talked about proteins to an extent, vegetable oils on a keto diet, we talked about breast milk, things about kidney stones as well as overall kidney health, supplements for anxiety, the benefits of sprouting grains, legumes, seeds, and nuts. Yeah, so right now we're about 20 minutes in. Generally like to go about 10 minutes more. The last couple of weeks we've been going a little bit longer than normal. Going about 40 minutes, but yeah, so we talked about a whole bunch of different things so far. Let's get some more questions in. Michael, what's up, brother? I don't know if I got you. I see you joined. Christian, what's up, brother? How you doing? Okay, John Zona. What foods can a person eat to help burn fat or to increase metabolism? Oh boy. So I get this into a little bit of a squirrely neighborhood. So essentially, in order to increase metabolism, we need to either consume a stimulant or something that's going to increase the thyroid. The problem with fat burners and things that are stimulating in nature is that too much consumption can theoretically lead to issues with the adrenals and or the thyroid, because your thyroid is basically what controls your metabolism. So if you're speeding up your metabolism, you could lead to hyperthyroid over time. Now, that being said, things that could lead to thermogenesis in terms of consuming them. Cayenne is going to do that. Cayenne can potentially be thermogenic, can be beneficial. So eat lots and lots of spicy food, beneficial. I'm a little hesitant to recommend it for this purpose, but ephedra, hands down, is effective for that role. There's a reason why the Eka stack existed. The ephedra, caffeine, ephedra, aspirin stack existed back in the 90s and early 2000s. I used ephedra very much so back in the day when I was a child because it saved my life for asthma on many occasions, and that is the biggest benefit of ephedra, is for respiratory benefit. But in the process, it is going to go and cause more fat. It's going to cause you to burn things faster because it's causing more respiration. So, yeah, a little ephedra would be the best thing to do to burn fat there. In terms of overall, though, eat real food. That's how you're going to burn fat. Get on the mats, get some jiu-jitsu in, get some strength in, get some sprinting in, all that fun stuff. All right, so we all know how ingredients like ginger, garlic, etc. are good. Is it necessary for a normal person to consume them in supplement form? Great question. In terms of things like ginger and garlic, probably not on a regular basis. If you are dealing with circulatory issues, respiratory issues, I might consume garlic on a regular basis. If you are dealing with digestive issues, I might consume ginger on a regular basis. If you're dealing with food poisoning, I might consume ginger. And again, this is specifically supplemental. That being said, consuming those as an actual food on the regular, definitely do it. But in terms of supplementing with them, most of those could be done just fine by getting the actual thing. So garlic, go chew on some garlic, or cook it in your food if you're not feeling that adventurous. Same thing, ginger, horseradish, cayenne, turmeric, all those herbs. Add them to your food. You don't necessarily need to supplement with it. Can you? Absolutely. If you're dealing with other conditions, absolutely. But more often than not, you're better off just consuming it. Particularly if you're getting a good quality source of it, you should be fine. So yeah. Yeah, so again, those of you joining late, talked about a whole bunch of different things: oral health, different the kidney issues, proteins, fats, what kind of fats are the best. Talked about breast milk, talked about burning fat, increased metabolism, different spices and things like that. What other questions we got going on? Benefits of reishi mushroom. How much to eat, the more the better. So reishi mushroom does fall in that adaptogenic category I mentioned before regarding anxiety, which we talked about that before, things to eat. So reishi mushrooms are medicinal mushrooms. They are adaptogenic as well, so they can boost the immune system. They can also help your body deal with stress. So, as such, with regard to that, what you're going to do is you're going to, in terms of how much to consume, that I generally look on the supplement end. I generally don't consume them. I generally just use culinary mushrooms when I'm eating mushrooms. I probably should incorporate more edible mushrooms. In terms of how much you should be eating, as much as as you want, pretty much. I don't see a point where they're going to have a negative effect. Maybe a couple maybe a handful of them, probably good. Cook them up with that. Hey Nick, what's up, brother? So yeah, in terms of their benefits, help with the immune system and help with fighting stress. Yeah, so what else we got going on? We talked a whole bunch. Breast milk. Okay, here we go. Perfect. How can we support the immune system of a baby who has eczema? So, in terms of how old of a baby are we talking, first of all? Second of all, I would look into Bifidobacterium infantis. It is a probiotic that is generally used for infants, and they've actually done some interesting studies on C-section and or unbreastfed babies, and they've looked at long-term allergenicity and autoimmunity and supplementing with probiotics short-term or shortly after birth for upwards of 5 years, and the rates of allergies and autoimmune conditions in those babies is a lot lower. As such, super beneficial. So, Katie, perfect timing. We're talking about immune systems on babies, and we talked about breast milk in the beginning. You have to go back and watch the replay. So, yeah, 5 months, Bifidobacterium infantis. I'd look at other things I might consider. Again, some Megaspore, very little, like sprinkling on like a quarter of a capsule. At 5 months, you could potentially consider, again, topically, I would definitely look at topical coconut oil. A little bit internally, I wouldn't go too crazy, but at the same time, coconut oil is rich in MCT oils, which are also a actual major component of breast milk. Breast milk is one of the few sources of MCTs besides coconut and palm oil. Goat milk actually is a decent source of medium chain triglycerides as well, but that being said, coconut oil, milk, goat milk, and palm oil are the only real sources of it. So coconut oil would be a good bet overall. So coconut oil, Bifidobacterium infantis, maybe introducing a little bit of fermented food very slowly. Kefir in particular, some children do better on it than others, so introduce very, very slowly. We're talking like a tablespoon at a time, but there's been some interesting stuff on using that, so that will be your best bet. Okay, Katie, you have any questions? Rashid, Josh, what's up, guys? So catching everybody up who's joining late. Again, I've done the recap on a couple times now, but essentially talked about anxiety, talked about different best types of protein, vegetable oils on a keto diet, breast milk, eczema, what to do for children, babies with eczema, What can we do about immune systems, benefits of reishi, whether you should be supplementing with medicinal herbs and roots, things like garlic and ginger, versus say eating them. What are the benefits of sprouted products? Kidney issues, how to beat kidney stones, and things like that. But next batch of fire cream. Next batch of fire cream is available right now. So if you would like some fire cream, ladies and gentlemen, pop on it now. And beyond that, hoping still that we're gonna get fire cream ready to launch by the end of June. We ran into a little bit of a hiccup, a little bit of a snafu. We'll see how it's moving forward, but still hoping for a wide launch by the end of June. Knock on wood. Otherwise, if you need your fire cream, let me know. I will get you your fire cream. Have it ready. So made a pretty big batch last time, so it's still in. It's still ready to rock. So if you don't know what the fire cream is, I'll tag to that. If you don't know, now you know. Basically, pain, inflammation, healing from injuries, all that fun stuff. What else did we talk about? Or what else? What are the last questions we have? Because we actually did just hit the 30-minute mark, or about 31 minutes. So, otherwise, while I'm waiting to see if you have any last questions, I'll take one or two more if you got them. Otherwise, everybody that hopped on, thank you so much for dropping by. Truly love and appreciate the support. Without you guys, wouldn't be able to put out this content, and hopefully you guys getting the benefit out of it that I like to think you are. A lot of people have been jumping back and forth, so hopefully you guys are getting that benefit. If you are, I would truly appreciate it if you head on over to YouTube and subscribe over at youtube.com/MikeTheCaveman. Over at MikeTheCaveman.com, you can go over subscribe over there. I know I told you like last week or 2 weeks ago that I was updating the website. It is updated, but I haven't transferred it over yet. Kim did a great job of updating it. I'm just kind of an idiot and haven't actually done that. Either way, if you could email, subscribe over there, we're going to be doing some cool stuff. Probably going to try and start doing some giveaways and cool stuff like that. And yeah, either way, if there's no more question, guys, again, love you so much. If you made it, if you're watching this on the replay and you made it this far, again, God bless, good work. Either way, no more questions, then you know where to find me. Shoot me a message, send me your questions, and I'll see you tomorrow.